Do you want to know one simple action you can take to improve your afternoon energy levels? Well, it's Friday afternoon, and if you're going to feel a dip, then this afternoon is probably the time that you're going to experience it. So we often think about our energy levels as being related to how much fuel we've got in our system, how much glucose, particularly our blood sugar levels. And our blood sugar levels are controlled by a hormone called insulin. So we've got these two systems interrelated. As our blood sugar goes up, our insulin goes up, and it drops our glucose down again. So what about this control of our energy levels? Well, I'm going to get to that action in just a sec. But first, let's look at what you can do to improve, or what sorts of outcomes you can expect from this. So I'm going to talk today about a study that was done by Harvard in 2013, and it was to do with something that can really boost your energy levels. Before we do that, I just want to talk a little bit about genetics and epigenetics, because that's an important part of this study, because this study looked at changes to it's a very advanced form of looking at genomics, which is changes to your gene expression. So let's just unpack that a little bit, because it sounds really complicated, but I just want to use a simple analogy to describe to you what this relationship is between your genes and epigenetics, and we're going to talk about an epigenetic change today. So your genes are like the keys on your keyboard. They're fixed. They're what you were born with, and they give you the blueprint for building you, and they are unique to you. So no one else has the same genetic footprint as you do. So that's your unique blueprint. Epigenetics is like the hands that are typing on the keyboard. So every time you touch a key on the keyboard, it's like turning on a gene or turning off a gene. So we call this the epigenetics, and that's really our environment, and we often refer to this as nature versus nurture. Nature is your genes, and nurture is your environment. So these two things are very closely interrelated, because your genes are this incredible piece of equipment that senses continuously our environment. So it's constantly talking to our environment, and this action is actually one of those epigenetic effects. So I just wanted to explain that. We'll talk about it multiple times, because it isn't an easy thing to understand when you first hear about it, but it will become more familiar to you as time goes on. So what this study did was it used advanced genomic testing, so testing of what's changing, what's being expressed in your genes, what keys are being typed. In this case, not your genes, but in this study. And what they found in this study was that there was this rapid enhanced expression of genes associated with energy metabolism, mitochondrial function, and insulin secretion. And all while this was happening, at the same time, there was reduced expression of genes that were linked to inflammation and stress pathways. So before we go on to talk about this action, what the heck are mitochondria? So if you think of mitochondria as being this little battery inside of every one of your cells, that's where your energy is made. And the currency of energy is this molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's basically your coin. The more coin you've got, the more energy you've got. So what this study found that was when you did this action, what you do is you actually improve energy production and utilization of energy. And the two key molecules that were involved in this were ATP synthase and insulin. So these were the things that this gene expression was upregulating. So what's ATP synthase? It is an enzyme responsible for building ATP, your money. So when you do this action, you turn on your genes that build more cash, that build more energy in your cells. So as you can imagine, this is really valuable. So we've got an action that promotes mitochondrial resiliency is the term used for it. So mitochondria, the little batteries in your cell, their resiliency is promoted by doing this action. And they do it through making energy more efficient for you. And the other thing mitochondria are really important for is telling your cell whether it's time to die or not. So they're responsible for programmed cell death as well, for signaling in that pathway. So the more efficient your energy production systems are, then the more resilient those mitochondria are as well. So you're just making it easier for them to be efficient. So we want to, in other words, turn on these pathways. And what we're doing is we're taking an action, which is an environmental input, in order to change the expression of our genes, and that's epigenetics. All right, so what is this action? So this study took a group of people, and these were people who had not done this action before. So this was a one action and then a measuring of the result. So what they did was they had these people listen to a CD that encouraged the relaxation response. So what's the relaxation response? Well, it's opposite to the stress response. So it's changes induced in your body, both physically and mentally, that promote relaxation in the body. And of course, we have been doing this as a species for millennia. And you can think of probably some relaxation response processes such as meditation or yoga or Tai Chi or breathing exercises, Qigong, which is a special form of Tai Chi. And if you're interested in moving sort of relaxation actions, then just go and search on your favorite search engine or in YouTube for Qigong for beginners. There's lots of people showing you how to do that. There's repetitive prayer. One of the earliest studies that looked at the benefit of the relaxation response looked at the mantra used with the saying of the rosary. So what we're trying to induce here is to create the relaxation response is a two-pronged process. We're trying to take our focus and put it on a word or a sound or a phrase or a movement, and what we're trying to do by doing that is to disregard everyday thoughts. So it's a two-part process that induces the relaxation response. And this study showed that 20 minutes of this for someone who had not done it before had these really powerful changes to energy production. So that speaks well of not only doing it once, but doing it repetitively. So before you reach for that afternoon coffee, maybe think about an option that you could take to practice this, because mitochondrial health is associated with long-term health. So look after your little battery powerhouses. All right, if you liked this live, then please like below so that we can tap you into other lives that are coming, because I am Kim Connolly and the purpose of this is to specialize in helping you understand your genes so that you can make the right lifestyle choices to get the best version of you. So like us below, share the video, and please comment on your favorite relaxation response because you might inspire someone else. Okay, bye for now.